Okay, so how do I get back on track after I've had a rubbish day, a rubbish month, a rubbish week, or in my case at the moment, a rubbish few months? Guilty as charged. Because, to be honest, I've had such a lapse in health, fitness, focus, everything, and I can pinpoint it to a few events, and I wonder if you can relate. For example, my birthday in September happened. I was feeling on top of the world, I'd lost 10 kilos in 3 months, and then BAM! I got really, really, really drunk on my birthday, decided I really humiliated myself, couldn't deal with the fallout, and then for a week after my birthday I was like, screw it, I can eat what I want. And from there I just went down, 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 down. The other thing that happened was I went through a few life changes. Like, I moved house again, my friends moved away, my friends came back, I didn't have a car anymore. So essentially my routine was just completely changed. So I didn't have a routine that I really rely on when I'm being good. The other thing was I was working at night, so I was like finishing work at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm such a morning person. So being able to get up in the morning and exercise is a big thing for me, and I wasn't able to do that. And it was a big excuse to be like, oh, I'm waking up at 1 p.m. There's no time in the day. Or, Uber Eats for lunch. That's better than going to the gym, which I have to walk to now I don't have a car. And then the other thing was it came up to Christmas. And even though I was exercising, I just wasn't focusing on the nutrition. No, cheese, yes. Food, yes, which is how it should be. So those are my 4 excuses, and they're valid excuses, and they're natural. But I could perhaps have avoided them as pitfalls if I'd taken the advice I'm about to give myself and the advice I'm now taking. So hopefully this can sort you out if you're in the middle of a few months like I was, if you're struggling just on the weekends to get back in the week, or if just you keep trying and doing really well and then falling off the bandwagon and yo-yoing back to how you were before. To be honest, I felt a bit unworthy. Like, how dare I post a video about fitness when I'm not at the peak of my fitness? And that is what I call my all or nothing curse. Like, and I don't know if you can relate to this. If I'm in the gym and eating well, I'm positive, everything's working, and then suddenly it'll all go to shit and I won't eat well, I won't exercise, I won't do anything well. So that's my all or nothing curse. And I wasn't going to share this because I was thinking I need to be perfect to share advice, but nah. Honesty is the best policy. Hold yourself accountable and work out what you've done wrong and move forward from there. And this is what I'm going to share. We've got 5 tips on how to be back on track after you've had a lapse. So I hope you like them, and let me know if you relate and if you do them. Step 1, give yourself 1 day. After your bingey weekend, after your boozy weekend, after your week of not thinking about what you're doing with your diet, eat what you want, do what you want. Don't do what you want, it doesn't matter. But limit it to 1 day. Day 2, you're up, you're out, you're exercising, you're moving, you're doing something without fail. Discipline. It's worth it. And the next 4 things that I'm going to talk about will help you get that discipline to make sure you stick to that. Number 2 is set yourself some goals. Once I'd got in shape and achieved my 12-week goal, I then had nothing to work towards anymore. And even though I tried to maintain that weight, I wasn't working towards a timescale, I wasn't thinking about it, I was not being able to hold myself accountable, and so it was just a gradual slip, which ends up being a big thing over 3 months. So if you set goals, they need to be smart, it needs to be specific, you need to be able to measure it, it needs to be achievable, it needs to be realistic, and you need to have a time limit, i.e. smart. And it's a good idea to think about this on day 1. Think about where you are today, even take your measurements if you want, but if not, no pressure. And by setting like a smart goal, you're holding yourself accountable, you're like showing yourself real progress through facts and figures rather than, oh, I think I looked like this, or I think I weighed that. And without setting a goal, it's easy to think that you're doing well, and it's easy to miss the gym one day because you don't feel like it. And in reality, you've got nothing to work towards. And when we've got nothing to work towards, it's natural as humans that, I don't know, we're a bit lazy and we don't bother. We don't need to. Why bother? For example, I want to lose 5 kilograms in 5 weeks. Cool. Or I want to lose 2 centimeters from my waist. Rather than I want to lose 5 kilos. Or I want to lose weight around my tummy. That's not giving you anything to really work towards. So what you could do as a basic starting point is write down your weight and your girth measurements. So they would be just using a tape measure sort of around the midpoint of your arm, your chest, your waist, your hip, and your thighs. And you can do your calves as well. And do each side. And also take a photo from the front, side, back. And the best way I've done here is, it's a visual thing for me. So get an Excel spreadsheet, get a piece of paper, put it online, put it on whatever works for you. And what you need to do is input like on week 1, so today's date, what do you weigh? Columnize it, next week, week after, week after, week after. Week 5, that's where you're going to be writing in whether you've achieved this goal. And simply seeing it there and saying to yourself, do I want to be in this position again in 5 weeks' time, thinking, oh, I had 5 weeks and didn't achieve it? Or see it and think, that's not actually that long. I can see that as an achievable target, and you're going to work and you're going to be motivated to follow that through. And every week, I would recommend weighing yourself, for example, on a Monday morning, and inputting that weight and having that goal to lose 1 kilogram of weight makes the 5-week goal more achievable by having it in little increments. And overall, by doing this, you're just holding yourself accountable to yourself. If you've not got a personal trainer or you've not got anyone else in the gym with you, this is you in competition with you. There's no hiding from something you've written down unless you wrote it out. The third one that I think is really important is to record your nutrition and track your progress as you go along. And I just find it so helpful to see on a page exactly what you're eating and look at the patterns. And the way I do this is through what I call my trusty Excel traffic light system. Sexy. So basically I write a food diary and I timetable it on Excel. So I have like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and for the week. And in each of the boxes, I will write subjectively whatever food I have had for that meal. And then I give it a green, orange or red based on if it's a clean, medium or dirty feed. And then over the spread of the week, you can see a visual representation of how clean your diet's been. And yes, it's subjective, so you've got to be honest with yourself, again, holding yourself accountable. But it's so good to see. You can literally be motivated through wanting to see more green in your week. My goal, for example, I put at the end of the week, I will calculate how many boxes are green, how many boxes are orange, and how many boxes are red. And the aim, or the goal for me each week, is to have an 80% green. It sounds very nerdy, but it's very good and it's very fun. So what I'll do is, if you want to see it and you want to get more information on how I do it, please comment and please let me know, because I'm more than willing to share this method of kind of nerdy food tracking. It sounds like a lot of work and it can look a little bit silly and a little bit manual. And again, it's up to you to work out how you feel and whether it's a good meal. It's not for anyone else. So just like put it in, if it's green, hold yourself accountable, write it down, and just keep on top of it. It's a really good way of seeing what you're eating without what some people might call the faff of inputting it into MyFitnessPal. That being said, I do recommend using MyFitnessPal, especially if you're back into bad habits, because it's just another way to hold yourself accountable and prove what you're putting in versus what you're burning out. A little red flag, my guiltiest habit is if I'm having a bad week or I'm not being consistent, I am so guilty for writing down either in MyFitnessPal or on my Excel traffic light system my good days. And I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, tick, 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 100% clean day. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, oh, I wrote down lunch or I wrote down dinner because I've been naughty for it. And when I'm being naughty, again, back to all or nothing, I don't write it down because I'm like, screw it. What's the point? I'm bad anyway. Don't need to write it down. So that's a red flag. Just take the time after you've had a meal, put it on Google Sheets on your phone or on your laptop and just put it in that box. It takes 20 seconds and it's worth it. It's so good to identify when you're seeing results. You can pinpoint that green week, for example, and you'll be like, yes, I smashed it. And that's because I was doing both great work in the gym and great work on my food. And then you can also say, well, why haven't I lost that kilo I was aiming to lose this week? And probably because, in my case, cheeky Sunday after a big boozy Saturday night, you just ruined your calorie deficit for the week. Moving on to the do I want versus do I need equation. I'm a sucker for eating when I'm tired. Like, wake me up in the morning if I'm tired and I've had a bad week. I'm like, breakfast. What do I want? Everything. Okay, I'm going to have it. And what I worked out is just taking a moment and saying, do you want this? Or do you need this? And once I get into bad eating habits, I find it very difficult to break this one. And being tired is my one thing that will always take me back after a few good days to eating badly. And so enter the question, do you want versus do you need? Just ask yourself that and you'll get the answer. Trick question. Yes, I can ask myself, do I want it or do I need it? But if I'm in a bad mindset, my brain's going to go, do you want it or do you need it? And my brain's going to reply, like my subconscious is going to reply and be like, I know I want it and I know I don't need it and I'm going to bloody well have it anyway. So I get like this is a kind of a stupid question unless you're feeling positive, which is why you need to think about tip number 5, which is get your ass moving. If you are sat inside thinking about food, you're gonna walk to that fridge and you're gonna say, do I want it? Yes. Do I need it? No. I'm gonna go to the cupboard anyway? Yes. Am I gonna stand there for 5 minutes and think about what I'm eating? Yes. Am I gonna eat it anyway? Yes. And I'm gonna be okay with that for 5 minutes. And then after I finish that lovely whatever, I'm gonna be like, I hate you. Why did you do that? You do this every time. So actually, that's why it's a trick question. However, getting moving, getting out the house before you ask that question or before you get up and go to the cupboard, just jump up and down, walk outside, walk around the block. Because once you start the movement and once you start getting those endorphins flowing, you'll find that you don't want it and it was just boredom, most likely, especially in my case. If I'm sat doing nothing, I'm like, food. The key for me here is that action is what motivates more action. That was in The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which I highly recommend to listen. I listened to it on Audible, it's brilliant. And he's saying in all aspects of life, eating, food, exercising, including, the action is what drives the motivation to do more. So if you're sitting around waiting for the next day when your inspiration is going to strike about not eating shit food again, it's not going to happen. Believe me, I've been through that cycle more times than I care to admit, and it just doesn't work. You need to get out and move. And it's so easy. It's so great once you're out. You're like, why haven't I been doing this for 5 days? And like just going for a 5-minute walk, I think you'll find at the end of the 5-minute walk, you'll want to carry on. So don't put the pressure on yourself to do more, but it's nice to get out of the house, and it's nice to then be able to come back into the house and say, no, I don't want it. So there lies the answer to your sort of trick question. It needs to be combined with movement. So it's almost like, do I want versus do I need times exercise equals your answer. Jesus, I should be a mathematician. And bam, you're gonna succeed, you're gonna be happy, and everything in life is just gonna fall into place if you follow those 5 steps. Just kidding. This is all about getting back on track, so you're gonna slip up and that's fine. Just the key things for me is, remember the one day. After that one day, get back into it. Discipline. Call a friend and get them to wake you up in the morning. I don't care. That second day is all about you, and it's all about getting your motivational mindset back into where you want it to be. The other key thing, keep the nutrition consistent. The food diary is going to help with that. Give yourself a week. Just give yourself that 1 week and see how you go, and that will show you either way you're going wrong and how to continue better. I really hope it takes me away from the goal setting in particular, because by working towards and setting them, even just setting them itself, really fuels the mindset and energizes you to keep going, to keep working, and to prove to yourself, screw everyone else, that you can do it and you are capable of getting yourself back in the game. P.S. If you, like me, suffer from the all or nothing curse, don't beat yourself up about it. It's the biggest thing in the world for me. If I'm doing nothing and I'm not putting my all into something, I'm like, you're failing at life. You're not. Give yourself a break. Start again tomorrow. Quick summary, 5 things to work on. 1 day. Give yourself the day. Set goals. Smart goals. 3, track your nutrition and make a note in a food diary. 4, do I want versus do I need? Times 5, get your ass moving. And voila, success. I'd love a like. It's going to validate me in every sense of the word. So click a like, click subscribe, and watch one of my other videos. For example, burpees. That'll get you up and moving. Get off the sofa, you fat shit. Stop watching this. Take my advice. See you for a walk around the block.